Good morning. Welcome to the Community Calendar. I'm Jazzy, and today my guest is Nicholy Johnson. She's a manager with Commit, and they're all about preschool education. Thank you so much for joining me today.
I'm happy to be here.
It's time to get the kids back in school. They've been out over a year, but you're focusing on PreK. Why is PreK so important? Because parents like to leave the little kids at home as long as they can.
Yes, I'm glad you asked, Jazzy. So we know that 90% of the human brain development happens before the age of 5. So parents waiting until kindergarten to enroll their children in school is already too late. And also research shows that children who attend PreK are twice as likely to be ready for kindergarten. And there's strong consensus that high quality PreK programs not only provide a significant boost in school readiness for incoming kindergartners, but it also offers long-term effects such as lessening learning gaps and reducing dropout rates. So in other words, if children go to PreK, they're more likely to excel early, graduate from high school, and just be more successful in life.
That's really interesting to hear because some people think, oh, they're too young to learn, but actually it's the opposite. You should teach them as much as you can while they're young, right? They're saying that's when the brain develops. So that's really good information. Now, what prevents families from enrolling their child in PreK?
Well, right now we know the number one reason is because of COVID-19 and now the Delta variant. They've made it very difficult, even more difficult than usual, for parents to make the decision to enroll their children in school. So with that, our schools are doing all they can to continue to adhere to all state and CDC guidelines regarding sanitation, social distancing, and other policies to keep children as safe as possible. And plus, there have been very low severe infection rates among our young children. And so we also know that so many of our children have been impacted emotionally and socially because of the pandemic, as they've been forced to isolate and quarantine inside their homes. So PreK is the first step in getting children to recover from the pandemic by learning how to make friends and interact with others in a safe school environment.
You know, that's my daughter. My daughter, she's 3, and I had her out for over a year, and I could just tell. I would take her to the park and she's like, kids, and I realized how important that was, that she have that social engagement.
Right, and that's very important, even more now than ever, especially the socially emotional learning piece, because children have been through so much emotionally from this pandemic, and so just getting the chance to interact with their peers and get that individualized teaching support is very paramount at this time in their lives.
And what about parents who are worried that their kids just aren't ready for school?
Yes, we get that a lot, but PreK is meant to be that year that gets children ready for kindergarten. So most of the day is spent in play-based learning, cooperative learning opportunities, and not tests and worksheets. So it's more about setting that foundation for those social skills that children need so much in order to prepare them for the next school year.
And what about parents thinking that the teacher isn't going to understand their child and the needs of the child? Some of them may not be fully potty trained. You know how that goes.
Right. Well, our early childhood PreK teachers are actually required to take additional 30 hours of professional development each year, and specifically around early childhood learning and development. So those teachers who are in those classrooms are well prepared and educated, and they know the different developmental stages and needs of young children, and they are willing and able to meet those needs of those young children and to understand their development during those years.
And Nicholy, what about bullying? I mean, because that happens as well.
Right, and bullying is such a big thing right now. And the PreK curriculum that most of our school districts use, they actually have built-in social-emotional learning components that help young children with how to positively deal with their emotions, how to self-regulate, and how to cooperate with other children. So PreK is really focuses on that social-emotional piece to help children to understand their triggers and how to self-regulate when it comes to managing their emotions.
Oh, I see. And, you know, as a parent, you have to think about it. At some point, you know, you have to introduce your child to the real world, and it's going to happen one day, right? So you just kind of have to prepare your child for that and give them the tools that they need to prepare and be able to defend themselves if that happens. So I think this is really good that you guys are putting the information out about pre-K. I know a lot of parents are on the fence. I've been talking to my friends about it. We all have young children. And so we're coming to the conclusion that, these kids need to be in school. They really do.
Right.
And these schools, they're doing temperature checks and they're doing everything that they can to keep these kids safe. So that is really, really good. Now, for parents out there who are interested or on the fence and they're like, well, let me see, how can you register your child for pre-K, and does it cost any money?
Well, it depends on the income bracket of the parent, but registration for free pre-K, rather, is now open for all DFW school districts. And for them to learn more about how to enroll their children in pre-K, they can visit www.prekdfw.org, or if they have any other questions about pre-K or the registration process, they can text PreK, which is all caps, PREK, to 972-687-7735.
Now, exactly who qualifies? How old does your child have to be?
Yes, families that are eligible for free pre-K register their children if their child is 3 or 4 years old on or before September 1st, 2021.
Okay.
And they meet one of the 6 criteria. So they have to be age eligible and meet one of these criteria. Mm-hmm. So number 1, their child qualifies for the National Free or Reduced Price Lunch Program. Their child is a non-English speaker, is homeless, or their child has been in foster care, is a dependent of an active duty member of the U.S. military, or a child of a military member or first responder seriously injured or killed in the line of duty. And the good thing about it, if families don't qualify for free pre-K, tuition-based pre-K is also available at select districts and schools.
So who qualifies for the scholarships if you don't qualify from the other criterias?
Well, the good thing about it, Dallas ISD and now even some of our other districts are offering pre-K scholarships for families who do not qualify through the state's criteria. So for Dallas ISD, in order to qualify for the scholarship, children must meet at least one of the following. So the child only has to be African American, which is just phenomenal. Great. That's one of the criteria. Another one is the families have to have an expanded income bracket that disqualifies the child from being able to be eligible for free pre-K. And then the child has to be unable to speak or comprehend the English language based on the pre-loss assessment. So if the child meets one of those 3 criteria, they are qualified for the pre-K scholarship for DISD.
That's interesting. So if a child is African American, they can enroll in pre-K in Dallas?
Right. They will qualify for that scholarship. And I don't know if the scholarships are limited, the number of them are limited, but they automatically qualify to be enrolled in that scholarship or be considered for that scholarship just for being an African American child. Because based on the data in DISD, the African American children are performing the lowest on the 3rd grade STAR exam and other assessments, right? And so that puts African American children more at risk. So they only have to be African American. That's one of the criteria that they have to meet in order to be eligible for that particular scholarship, which I think is phenomenal.
I think that's a great program that they're offering too. Now, some parents are listening to the interview and they're saying, okay, I would like to go ahead and put my kid in pre-K, but I don't want to do in-person learning. Is virtual learning an option?
Well, starting this school year, all of our participating school districts are offering in-person pre-K programs only. And this is in alignment with the recommendations from the American Academy of Pediatrics. So in-person instruction for young children allows them to experience a high-quality pre-K program with opportunities for individualized teacher support, hands-on activities, and most importantly, to build those social-emotional skills by interacting with other children in a safe learning environment. And so we know that may be a hard decision for parents, being that there's no virtual option for pre-K, but we do know, as recommended by the American Academy of Pediatrics, that in-person instruction for our young children is so much better and it's much more effective because they get that social interaction. And those social skills, as I stated earlier, are paramount and foundational for young children, and which sets them up for success in later grades.
Yeah, I agree. So if someone wanted to go ahead and register their child for pre-K and they live in various areas throughout Dallas-Fort Worth, is there one place they can go or to see exactly where the pre-K school that would be best for them? Or is there one place they can go to sign their kid up?
Yes, if they go to www.prekdfw.org, it is a one-stop shop for those parents who live in the DFW area. All they have to do is put their child savings first there. They get all of the eligibility requirements for pre-K there. And if there's a school locator there, if they put their zip code in, their address, it will give them the schools that are available within their area where they can enroll their child in pre-K. And as I also stated, if they want even more information, they can text pre-K to 972-687-7735. And that text is in all caps. That's PREK in all capital letters to 972-687-7735.
Okay. And does enrollment have to be completed online or can they do it in person?
Well, for most districts, all the enrollment will need to happen online, but many districts are, in addition to their online process, they're allowing many parents to bring in additional documents, those hard copies of documents in person to campuses or select enrollment sites.
Okay.
So they can check with their schools to see what that enrollment process is, but for the most part, most of those districts have an online enrollment process, but they do offer additional in-person assistance if needed.
I see. And the language testing, though, if there's a language barrier, that has to be in person?
Yes. Now, that language testing does take place in person, and it's still by appointment only. And so, as I stated, parents will need to call their local schools that they're interested in their children being enrolled in to make those appointments and to get the timelines for those tests.
All right. That's perfect. Well, there's a lot of information that we have unpacked today, and I know pre-K enrollment is coming up. When is the deadline, though, to enroll your kid?
There really is no deadline.
Okay.
Children can be enrolled through the duration of the school year. So, but there's usually like a peak time, which is like right now before school starts, but there's no specific deadline for enrolling children in pre-K.
Okay, well, hurry up and sign your kid up because school is about to get started, and you want to make sure that you got all your paperwork in, all the information in, that you qualify and all that good stuff, and that you give your kid a head start into their future in regards to their education. So get them started early with pre-K. Again, you can go to prekdfw.org to sign up, or you can call 972-687-7735. Thank you so much, Nicholy.
Oh, thanks for having me. I love to talk about the importance of pre-K, so thanks for this opportunity.
You're welcome.